Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Bellator kickboxer Kevin Ross. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for asking. Kevin, the name of the game is really random. That's where I ask you a random question and you give me the real answer. Some of these questions are custom made just for you, and some of these questions are generic ones that I ask all the people I interview. So, here's the first question. Superpower you'd love to have?
Flight.
Favorite movie?
So many. Platoon.
Movie you've seen the most times?
Tough one. Probably that.
Favorite color?
Let's go with blue.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
Junk food.
Now, go slow because I want to hear everything about your career. Let's go step by step, and let's talk about Bellator kickboxing and everything you have going on right now. Just go step by step with me. First things first, let's start with Lion Fight. You're no longer under contract with Lion Fight, is that correct?
Correct.
Why exactly are you no longer with Lion Fight?
Well, it was just a timing thing. You know, my contract was up with them, and Scott Coker came along, let me know he was starting his new kickboxing organization. It was just the right time, right opportunity.
Back in May of 2013, you were supposed to fight at Glory 8 in the 8-man, 65-kilo slam tournament that Glory was putting on in Tokyo. You were supposed to fight in that tournament, but due to contractual obligations with Lion Fight, you were forced to pull out of that event, and you wound up never fighting for Glory. Why exactly have we never seen you fight for Glory?
Yeah, I mean, it had mostly to do with my contract with Lion Fight. I actually signed with both of them in the same week, with Lion Fight first, and they had, I was exclusive to them, but only in North America. So, unfortunately, timing-wise, it just never worked out. Whenever I would have a break from Lion Fight, Glory would have cards, but they would be in America. And then, when I was looking to do one, then the other wouldn't line up. So it was just a timing issue thing, and unfortunately, because I really did want to fight for them, and it just never happened.
I know you just touched on this, but go a little deeper. How did this deal with Bellator kickboxing all come together? Is it just something where Scott Coker called you up and said, hey, we're putting together this kickboxing organization and we want you to fight on the card? Is that how this all came together, or is there more to the story?
Well, yeah, yes and no. When he was very vocal and adamant about the fact that if I wasn't fighting for him, or if I wasn't on a card, or there was a break in between fights, that I would have the ability to go fight other places. Not only that, I had the ability, but he wants me out there fighting, which has been my biggest hang-up in my career is organizations not keeping me as active as they promised, or just couldn't, and as well as them having issues with me fighting other places. Like, whoever I'm signed with will always have my first priority, but if I don't have a fight and I want one, and you're not going to give me one, you should allow me to go fight other places. Mm-hmm. And that's what Scott, the day we talked, he's like, yeah, we want you fighting other places, and you're not fighting for us. And when he said that, I told him I'd sign with him that day.
Do you like kickboxing? Because obviously it's a very similar sport to the sport you come from, Muay Thai. Obviously there's a lot of similarities, but at the same time, there are some major differences. First is the fights are a lot shorter. The fight you're going to have on April 16th is going to be 3 3-minute rounds, so they're shorter fights, and there's going to be no clinching and no elbows. So, do you like kickboxing? Are you a fan of fighting under K1 rules?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Muay Thai will always be my passion. It's what I love to do. To me, the next best thing is kickboxing, and I definitely enjoy doing it.
Do you have any plans on taking an MMA fight? Because obviously, the promotion you're going to be fighting for on April 16th, Bellator, even though they're promoting kickboxing events, at the end of the day, they're still a mixed martial arts promotion, and their main business is mixed martial arts. So if it's the right fight for the right money at the right time, would you be interested in taking another MMA fight? In the past, you've fought under MMA rules. Would you be interested in fighting in a cage once again?
Well, I've done MMA before. The only reason I did it was because I couldn't get fights other places. I have no desire to do MMA. I'm definitely not looking to do it, but I'm not going to say it's not a possibility. You know, as you said, when I don't have any fights in anything and can't get them, yeah, I'll fight whatever. I don't care. Mm-hmm. But I will always prefer to fight stand-up.
How does it feel to be fighting Raymond Daniels? Obviously, I'm joking. You're not fighting Raymond Daniels, even though a lot of people out there were convinced that you were going to be fighting Raymond Daniels on April 16th. There were a lot of people out there because Bellator kept saying that you didn't have an opponent and it was to be announced, and people kept seeing your name next to Raymond Daniels in all these press releases, so they thought that you were going to be fighting against Raymond Daniels, even though he's like 30 or 35 pounds heavier than you are. A lot of people were still believing that you were going to be fighting against Raymond Daniels for Bellator kickboxing. So my question to you is, did you find this funny when people were asking you about a fight against Raymond Daniels? Did you find that funny, or was that something that you found annoying, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. I'd say the annoyance was over the fact that realizing people just weren't paying attention. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like you see two names in a paragraph, and you're like, oh, they're fighting. Mm-hmm. You know, so after a while, it's like, dude, like, just read the sentence. Mm-hmm. We're not fighting. No one said we're fighting. You're making assumptions. So in that essence, yeah, it got annoying, but at the same time, I thought it was pretty hilarious that people were that clueless and didn't pay attention or just didn't know.
It feels like to me that this event has been talked about for a very long time, and I've known that you were going to be fighting on this card. It seems like for so long it was to be announced that was your opponent. Bellator never came out right when they announced that you were going to be fighting on this card. They never said, okay, Kevin Ross is going to fight, insert a fighter's name. They never said that. They kept saying it was going to be announced shortly or to be announced, something like that. They kept dragging this on and on before they announced who you were going to be fighting. So my question to you is, how long have you been preparing for this event, or I guess how long were you preparing for this event without an opponent? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? How long were you preparing to fight on April 16th, not knowing who you were going to be in the ring with?
For a pretty long time. You know, I mean, I never stopped training, so it's hard to say how long I've been training for this event, but I think I found out who the opponent actually would be a couple weeks ago, or they gave me a series of names. They're like, it's going to be one of these guys. So I had a general idea, 33 weeks ago, I would say, but just found out for sure, I think, last week.
On April 16th, you're going to be fighting Matteo Tassini. How much do you know about him? According to the press release Bellator put out, he's never fought under kickboxing rules before. They say this is going to be his debut. So what do you know about him?
Well, you know, it's like if you look at my record, my actual kickboxing record is only 1-1. I've only had 2 professional kickboxing fights, but that would be very not honest with the fact that I've had 40-something other fights, you know. Mm-hmm. So, I never really put any weight on people's records anyhow. You know, I fought people with 400 fights, and I fought people with making their debut, and it's just a matter of who's in front of you and who's in front of you that night. You can put all this, importance on that, but at the end of the day, there's just a person across the ring from you that's going to try to hurt you, and when they're very motivated, they're very young, and talented, then it doesn't really matter what the record says. So I always go in there with the assumption I'm going to fight the best fighter in the world, and anything less than that, I'm ready for.
Have you watched any film on Matteo? What do you know about him?
brief clips. I don't really like to watch a lot of footage on my opponents anyways. I'll leave that up to my coaches and my training partners to pay more attention to, what he's doing, what I need to watch out for, because I find it hinders me personally. I know it's good for some people, but I don't really like to do it.
You've fought in different countries in the past, but never in Italy. How much are you looking forward to fighting in Italy?
Yeah, I'm really happy to be going over there. I got family in Sicily, and I've spent time in Italy and Sicily way back when I was younger. This will definitely be my first time fighting there. So it's always a pleasure fighting in new places, new countries, and bringing what I do to new eyes.
What's your official fighting record? Because I've seen so many different records for you. I've seen 41-11, 44-14, 44-12, 40-10, 30-9, 31-9. I've seen so many different records. I think I repeated myself in that little demonstration of how many different records I've seen of you, because I've seen so many different ones. It's hard to keep track of them all. What exactly is your official fighting record, so we can end this once and for all? What is your official fighting record? I want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. What is your official fighting record?
My all-time fighting record, including amateur, pro, every single style of anything I've ever done, is 44-14.
For a very long time now, you've been known as the face of American Muay Thai. If you mention Muay Thai in this country, your name is the first name that's mentioned. You just go hand in hand with this sport and this country when we think of the two mesh together. But I'm interested in knowing from you, when exactly did you start hearing that? At what point in your career did you start to hear people say that about you?
It's hard to say. I would say I've heard it for years and years now. Whether it was one person or a group of people, I'd say within the last 3 years is when it kind of became like something you're known as, and like I knew that many people viewed me as that. But I have heard that for forever.
Why Muay Thai as opposed to boxing or mixed martial arts? Because this sport, now it's gaining traction and it's a little bit more popular because Lion Fight has come along and put shows on TV. But for a very long time when you were fighting, there was nothing in it for the athletes. There was no fame because there wasn't a platform on TV and there were no crowds. And then there's also, because there's no crowds and no TV, there isn't a lot of money. So basically you're fighting only for pride and glory. Why Muay Thai as opposed to a different combat sport?
It was a combination of things. I always loved boxing growing up, and thought about it for years and years. But I always loved martial arts as well. And I wanted to find that kind of fighting that was martial arts fighting. But, pretty much the only thing you would ever see is taekwondo, karate, like point fighting and sparring, and nothing that was similar to boxing in my mind, like this real fight. And then one day I saw Muay Thai on ESPN way back in 1996, and I immediately knew that's what I wanted to do. It just drew me into it. It wasn't this choice of anything else. I knew that's what I was going to do.
Lion Fight, they're doing a lot of great things for the sport of Muay Thai. And then you have Glory. They're doing great ratings, better ratings than they were doing on Spike TV over at ESPN2. They're doing great. And obviously Bellator, they're starting a kickboxing promotion. So there's a lot of people who are putting a lot of effort, a lot of money, and are giving kickboxers, Muay Thai fighters, all that kind of stuff, giving them a place to perform, and the fans who are being exposed to it for the first time are really loving it, and it's being well received, and we're seeing this boom. Now my question to you is, did you ever think that you'd be an active fighter and this boom would happen? Because you had to have known when you were coming up in the sport that you were going to be a trailblazer and you were going to be the pioneer of this thing, but did you ever think you were going to be still fighting when we see this boom period happen?
It's pretty funny, like that all those exact words is what I've always said to anytime when anyone has asked me what I think about the growth of the sport and where it is day, and that is the fact that I always knew it would get here, and I always knew I would be someone that would help it get here, and went above and beyond out of my way to try to make sure that happened. But I never thought I'd still be actively fighting when this finally was to happen. So it's pretty surreal for me just to be doing this and to still be doing this at such a high level and still feel great, and everything's where it needs to be, and this is going on. It's pretty amazing to me.
Regardless of what sport you're competing in, whether it's mixed martial arts or boxing or kickboxing or Muay Thai, whatever sport it is, to be a successful fighter, you have to be selfish. And a lot of people who are not fans of combat sports or people who don't compete in combat sports, they don't understand that. They think that that's a negative thing, but actually, to be a successful fighter, you have to be a little selfish, to rise to the top of your sport. You have to be a little selfish because you have to get the proper rest, you have to get the proper training, you have to be eating the right things, you have to go out on the road a lot, you have to travel for fights, maybe you have to commute to your training, maybe you're somebody who's from, I don't know, Ohio, but your trainer is in Las Vegas, so you're away for 3 or 4 weeks at a time. You're doing your camps in different states. Like, there's a lot of things that go into it. You have to be a little selfish to succeed in combat sports. That's just the nature of the beast. Some people get it, some people don't get it, but it's the truth. You have to be somewhat selfish to succeed in whatever combat sport you're competing in. My question to you is, what's the biggest thing you've had to sacrifice by becoming a professional fighter?
Well, yeah, I'd say the sacrifices are really endless, but the biggest one that I would wish wasn't the case would be that time away from friends and family. That stuff you can't get back. Yeah, sure, we make financial sacrifices and put ourselves through hell and all those kinds of things, but when you're done fighting, there's all the time in the world to do that. But those moments you have to miss with people that you care about, you can't get those back, and it's unfortunate. It's part of what we do, but it comes with the territory, and you gotta be willing to deal with that.
If you weren't a fighter, what would your job be?
My job, I don't think I would ever have a job. I feel I'm too creative for that. I have too many things I want to do and like to do. I can't have a boss. I can't have somebody telling me what to do. So, I've been an artist since I was born, basically, and it's something I continue to do and will pursue further, once I'm done fighting and have more time on my hands. Mm-hmm. But I'll always dabble in a little bit of everything.
Before you became a full-time fighter, what other jobs did you work?
I was for 3 years, I worked on the strip doing caricatures. That was probably my main job. I tried to do a couple jobs prior to that, but like I said, I can't have somebody telling me what to do. Mm-hmm. So there would be like a day or two, and I'd be like, that's it. I'm not dealing with this. So, like I said, my artistic side is really what I did. The caricature thing was my only real job as an artist, if you want to put it that way, and then everything else was me doing like freelance stuff, selling paintings, doing graphic design, doing computer animation, just odd jobs.
You've been fighting for a long time now. You're 35 years old. You're still, in my eyes, a young man. I think you have many, many years still in this sport, whether it's kickboxing or Muay Thai. I think you have a lot of fights left in you. But how much longer do you want to keep fighting?
Oh, well, thanks for saying that. Most people ask me, you're getting kind of old. How long you keep doing this? But yeah, I feel great. I feel better than I've ever felt. Actually, I still feel like I'm improving in every area of the game. So that's something that definitely keeps me from questioning whether I want to keep doing this or whether I can keep doing this, is the fact that I don't feel like I've slowed down at all. But the two main things that always will keep me in the sport and have kept me in the sport is two questions. Do you still love to do this? Yeah, I do, because I wouldn't do this if are you still improving, or at least not declining? Are you still healthy enough? Are you not dealing with any serious long-term things that the rest of your life is going to be in agony because of it? So, like I said, those two questions I asked myself, and as long as the answer is yes to them, then I'm going to keep doing it. So it's hard for me to put a date because I don't have one, and that's been from day one. I don't know how long I can keep doing this. I never thought I'd be doing it to begin with. So every day to me is just extra, and it's a blessing, and I'm happy to be doing that. I hope I can do it for a really long time.
Do you still fight for the same reasons that you did when you originally got into fighting, or have they changed over time?
Yeah, 100%. I'd say there's added reasons now. Now that I've gotten to the position I'm in, I know that there's a lot of people that look up to me and take inspiration from what I do, which is, a big reason why I do what I do. So being in the spotlight now, and then more so every day, definitely adds more to that. But I still do it for the same reasons I started. This is just what I love.
What's the worst injury you've ever had because of fighting?
That depends what you consider bad. I'd say the one that could have killed me is when I got my skull fractured fighting in China. So I'd say that was the scariest one, particularly because I didn't find out till almost a month later that that's what happened. So yeah, that was a little freaky.
Do you still have all your teeth?
Yeah, they're just not mine. But I actually lost them. I used to play hockey and before fighting, so I lost them doing that. I've kept all of them since fighting them.
John Wayne Parr said he has anywhere from 600 to 800 stitches in his face alone. Now, he's fought more fights than you, and he's fought for more years than you, but do you have any idea how many stitches you have in your face over the course of your career from fighting?
I know that it's over 150. Once I kind of hit that mark, I really had to start guessing. But yeah, I've had my share.
What motivates you in fighting and in life?
I'd say being an inspiration to people and seeing other people that do that as well. When I see someone who inspires me or inspires others, that brings that, makes that, you want to bring that out of myself more. And when people tell me that I've done that for them, and it's how they look at me that way, and when they're having down days or when they feel they can't do something, they say that they've heard my story, or they see what I do, the struggles I've had, and it motivates them to accomplish whatever they are. So that's always been my goal.
Hobbies outside of fighting?
Well, my art, is probably my biggest hobby. Other than that, I really love to just relax, hang out with friends, spend time on the beach or in the woods, being on the earth.
Do you have any pre-fight rituals or superstitions?
I don't really have many, I wouldn't say, or at least not that I can look to. There's certain things like, sometimes if you wear a pair of shorts and you lose in them, they'll kind of you'll feel like there's a bad kind of vibe to them. And what I've done a lot in the past for friends is when they would lose in a pair of shorts, I would wear them in one of my fights, win, and kind of give them back, almost to say, like I took that bad vibe off of them. So I guess those are kind of superstitious things. But other than that, I don't know what I could point to.
Do you have any post-fight rituals?
Yeah, I binge on junk food, which has been pretty a public thing, and everyone kind of expects it, which has really got bad there for a while because of that. So countless people would be bringing me food and junk and donuts and cookies after a fight, just like so much so like I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. So I've really gotten away from putting it out there as much, as well as finding that balance between enjoying a few things after a fight and relaxing, as opposed to like trying to kill myself with junk food.
Because you've been fighting for a long time, and because you've been fighting at such a high level, Did you ever get burnt out on fighting? Was there ever a point in time where you thought about walking away from fighting and doing something else?
Yeah, without a doubt. More so years and years ago, particularly that time period when there was such a lull in fights, and I was like begging for fights, and I couldn't get them. Like I'd have one, they'd pull out, so they couldn't line one up. They couldn't find someone for me to fight, and it was just this constant. You're doing all this work, you're killing yourself day in and day out, and then the fight doesn't happen, and it would happen over and over and over. And there's often times like that where I was like, dude, like if I can't do this, like this is what I love to do, but if you're doing all this work for no results, it makes it really difficult to stick it out.
You've won numerous titles during your career. Do you have a favorite belt?
Not really. Like titles have never been something that interests me at all. It's the fight in itself that does, and that ends up having meaning. I mean, belts are great and they're cool, but all they are is just trinkets to me. So they're nice to have. I'd say more than anything, the fight that I had in itself is what puts kind of more or less of a feeling onto the belt, as opposed to just the belt.
You have a lot of tattoos. Tell me about some of these tattoos. How many do you have, and what are some of the meanings behind some of these tattoos you have?
I really have no idea how many I have. I got Muay Thai tattooed across my knuckles. It was something I really wanted from day one, but I told myself, not until you have your 10th fight are you allowed to get this. This can't be just like, oh, we started Muay Thai, we're going to go get Muay Thai on our knuckles. So, I made a benchmark for me to get that. So that's always been, one of my favorite meaningful ones because, this is my life. This is what I love to do.
Favorite food?
That's tough. That is tough. I love soul food a lot.
Mm-hmm. Least favorite food?
I'd say grapefruit.
Favorite restaurant?
My favorite soul food restaurant is called M&M, and that's in Vegas.
Favorite band and or solo artist?
Oof, that is a tough one. I'd say Bob Marley.
Your nickname is the Soul Assassin. That's quite a morbid nickname, don't you think? When we die, our soul is supposed to live on, but you're the soul assassin, so you're killing people's souls. That's quite morbid. Who gets credit for giving you this nickname? Who started calling you the Soul Assassin?
A fan in my very first professional fight, which was in Guadalajara. I went out there. They called me like on 2 weeks' notice. The guy I was fighting was 31-1 as a pro. This was my debut, and he had just recently lost his first match. So basically, they were bringing me out there to lose and to help him get his confidence back. But he and I had this crazy war, both just like soaked and covered in blood the whole fight. And I just fought like I normally do, which is I'm just putting the pressure on him, walking through everything he does. Nothing he's doing is phasing me, and I'm slowly breaking him down, breaking his spirit, breaking his will, which I aim to do every fight. I would rather make someone want to quit than knock somebody out. Anybody can get knocked out. It's just a matter of the right time, the timing of a strike. But to make somebody not want to fight anymore is a completely different thing. And so they gave me that nickname, and just with my style, it really stuck.
If you could trade places with anyone in the world for a week, who would you trade places with, and why?
Somebody sitting on a beach, relaxing, because that's what I wish I was doing right now.
If you could stay one age forever, how old would you stay, and why?
Same age I am right now. I feel great. I look back at younger years, and there's so much I'm grateful that I don't deal with anymore or have learned from. So I would say every day I wake up is the age I want to be.
As of today, what's the best moment of your fighting career?
That's another tough one. I'd say my fight with Saenchai was the hugest landmark in my career, or in American Muay Thai in general. It was such a enormous thing to do, an enormous feat, and the fact that I did so well, all those things was huge. It's hard for me to view it and realize like that's me. I did that, and it's very humbling to me to know that I was able to do that.
What's your favorite striking technique?
Probably body shots. I just love breaking people's body. Again, I like to break people down, make them want to quit, and I don't think anything makes people want to quit more than breaking their body down.
What's your pet peeve?
I can't stand when people don't fight, and play the points game, run around. It's very easy to say that's skill, but to me, I want to see people in there just going at it and giving everything they have, regardless of what the outcome may be. And I would say that's my same thing in life as well. When people have so much they can do, so much ability, so much talent, so much opportunities, and they would rather play it safe and not push themselves and not go after these things that they really want.
Let's say you found a magic lamp, and you rubbed that magic lamp, and a genie appeared, and the genie said he was going to grant you 3 wishes. What would those 3 wishes be?
I would say I would wish all the people in the world that are suffering weren't suffering more, particularly kids. I think that's one of the worst things to see is children dealing with disease, dealing with poverty and things like that, things they had no control over. It's difficult to see anybody go through that, but for someone to be so young and to have to deal with that, that would be my biggest thing. Everything I want is for others. I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to be taken care of. I want everyone to be able to go after their dreams and know that they can and they can accomplish them. That's my really main goal in life. I know I'm going to be fine. Like no matter what, I'm going to have a roof over my head. I'm going to have food. I might not have $1 million, but I have the ability, the talent, the drive to take care of myself. So anything over than that is I'd rather give it away.
Person you look up to the most?
Person I look up to the most? Oh, geez. I look up to a lot of people. I'd say Jesus.
Celebrity people say you look like?
I can't really recall anything that I would hear a lot. I don't think I look like anyone.
Go-to song when you're singing in the shower?
Yeah, don't have one. I couldn't even tell you the last time I sang in the shower.
Okay. How about this one? Let's say you were doing karaoke. What's a song that you can sing without using the machine? What's a song that you know the lyrics by heart?
Sir Mix-a-Lot, Big Bucks.
If you could go on a $1 million shopping spree at any store, what store would you go on that $1 million shopping spree at?
Somewhere that has really great food.
Some people are afraid of spiders. Some people are afraid of the dark. Some people are afraid of heights. What are you afraid of?
I'd say holding myself back from anything, and not to, pushing myself to get to where I could in anything. Not doing my best is my biggest fear. I don't have fear over things like that, over spiders or anything like that. It's cutting myself short.
What's the best thing that ever happened to you?
Best thing that ever happened to me? Well, I'd say meeting my girlfriend, Gina, because she's the one who inspired me to want more out of life, to stop wasting my life, to go after my dreams, which I've been putting off for so long. She's the reason I got into fighting, and or she's the person who drove me to want to do that. And in turn, she ended up coming along
What's the worst thing that ever happened to you?
The worst thing. It's tough to say. Recently, well, not recently, it's been a year already, that was the loss of our Keenan and I's dog.
What kind of dog was it, and how old was it?
It was a pit bull. Ended up getting lymphoma, and he would have been 12. He died about a month before his 12th birthday.
Well, now that you have me totally depressed, let's move on. Best advice you ever given through life, and best advice you ever given through fighting, and who gave it to you?
Best advice. I'd say, my father was someone who always taught me and showed me to work hard for the things I want, and people aren't going to just give you things because, like, oh, I want this, I deserve this. Like, go out and work for whatever you want. And that work ethic and drive is what has really allowed me to do the things I've done in life and in fighting.
Time period you'd like to go back and visit, and why?
Oh, man. I'd say between, 50s, 60s, 70s, I really, one for the fighting, I don't think there's anything better. Well, in boxing, that golden era of boxing was amazing to watch and to see what those people kind of put on the line and their heart and their desire and drive. I think it was a very cool time, as well as how the world was changing and all the different things going on around it.
What do you worry about? What's something that keeps you up at night?
I don't worry a lot. I know that no matter what, things are going to be okay. They're going to work out, and even in bad times, you'll find a way to get through it. I believe, God has me here for a reason, and that's more than I can figure out. I'm just doing what I think I should be doing and living my life the way I think I should.
What's your hidden talent?
A hidden talent. Most people don't know or are always surprised by the fact that I can play the piano, sort of. Taught myself, and I don't like to say I can play the piano. I play some songs, but that seems to surprise people.
Number one thing on your bucket list?
Number one thing. I was trying to think about this the other day, like what's on my bucket list. But really, my bucket list is there might be things I want to do, but the overall and general thing is I want to inspire people's lives. I want to change people's lives, and that's every single day. That's not in the future. That I just want to be able to do that and be able to do that more and to a wider number of people and in different ways. Whatever right now it's through fighting, and who knows what it's going to be in the future. It's just something I'm grateful to have the ability to do, and just want to do more of that.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change and why?
I'd say people's inability to realize that we are all in this together. We are all really one big giant family, and people get so almost stuck on like that team thing. Like, this is my team, because this is my team, I have to hate you when you're the enemy. Whether that's different countries, different religions, different colors. Those are the hugest things that cause so many problems, is our inability to understand each other and let people just be who they're going to be, as opposed to, you got to be the way I am because that's the right way to be.
Last question, Kevin. Let's say you're on death row and about to be executed. What would your last meal be? And I need an entree, a dessert, and a beverage. What would your last meal be?
Again, I would say I'm going to have to go with soul food, so fried chicken, for sure. Oh, I'd say chicken and waffles.
Ooh.
I'm going to have chicken and waffles with some cornbread, definitely. My dessert, what would my dessert be? Probably some kind of ice cream on top of, a donut or a brownie, or, a mixture of the things I like the best. A cookie, a donut, and ice cream together.
Kevin, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Definitely want to say thank you to the fans who have been there from day one for me and have gotten me through more than they could ever imagine. You know, I can't thank them enough, and that's why I always go above and beyond out of my way to give back to them as much as I can. So thank you to everyone. And my sponsors are Action Pro Gear, Muay Thai Addicts, Triumph United, and there's the third one, and I'm going to get yelled at. Muay Thai, that's something that... No, I think I got them all, but I do want to thank my gym, CSA, everyone there, Kieran, Gibbons, the coach, and everyone that helps me to be the best I can be.
Kevin, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it, and best of luck coming up on April 16th.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.